Okay, so I had a request for a demonstration of the ePortfolio in a video format. So this is about how to think about and add to your ePortfolio. So this is in the editing stage. You can tell by the way that we have the insert pages and themes over here. This is my home page, Home About Me. I have navigation on the left, and for those of you who don't know, the navigation settings, by clicking on that gear over there, you can look at the navigation. Do you want it on side or do you want it on top? My preference is to have it on the side. I just think that's easier to look at things, but it's truly a personal preference. So mine is on the side, and you get to it by clicking on that little gear and navigation settings. Here is my sidebar. So again, you see the various pages and subpages. Um, for our class, my recommendation is that you add in your Google Slides presentation. If you have the opportunity to add in the Google Slides presentation that you've recorded, then I think that's a great um, artifact under professional standard number 10, which is looking at leadership roles and opportunities to take responsibility for student learning, to collaborate with learners, families, colleagues. Here you can talk about leadership, um, and if you were really a leader in your group, and you can talk about the collaboration with colleagues, and that colleagues piece is working together on that artifact of your Google Slides presentation. Um, so underneath mine, the only one I have now, and I've talked about this a couple of times in the class, but I'm getting it here for the video. The only artifact I have under that is coming from my EDU 222 course, and I have that because I've worked on it for my students in that course. I've yet to create a presentation as a exemplar for EDU 230. It's always my hope and dream, but it's not something that I've been able to get to. And then the artifacts, this is what I've written. Now, I think that what I've written here is very, very scant. As I get the opportunity to continue to flesh this out, I will. Um, but I'll show you some other things that I've worked on. So let me get back to where I did a little better job of fleshing things out. So, with the various requests I get, I attempt to respond to them. In NTAS standard number 9, it's professional development. And if any of you have popped into my ePortfolio before, you might notice that this is different. I used to have it say Sanford Inspire certificates, but as I thought about it and communicated and collaborated and looked at other folks' ePortfolios, I decided a better subpage would be professional development. And then I've changed it so that it is Sanford Inspire certificates. So on this, I'm simply going to upload my Sanford Inspire certificates on this page. It may turn out that I end up changing the title, but that's the beauty of the ePortfolio, is that you get to work with it and change it as you get better ideas. It's not a static document. So here I had this. One of my one of my students had asked about some difficulty with annotation as an interactive reading strategy. So I completed this module today. It was only half an hour, so it wasn't too bad. I got up about 7:30 and did it from about 8 to 8:30. And then I did a little better description following the artifact reflections. So I believe this is pretty much true with what I truly believe. I talked about how what it was and what it demonstrated and the challenge I had. This is terrible for me. I'm always trying to multitask, and sometimes it really causes me some trouble. Um, so I had to take it a couple of times because I kept playing it and kind of listening to it in the background and then trying to do something else. So I failed the assessment probably 3 times until I finally went back and steadied my mind and took the assessment. And then I already use annotation when I look at the graphic organizers. I'm always saying that print is king and trying to talk about model annotation and understand how that information applies not only to um, the multicultural education conference simulation, but then later on, those skills transferred to the small group project work, allowing students the opportunity to annotate, and then talk about information. So I was pretty pleased with that. Now, I also had my first certificate, but I took it out because I wanted to model how I could add it. So here, on the right, there is Drive, and clicking on Drive, I am able to go into my ePortfolio contents, and then in my ePortfolio contents, I'm going to select the certificate, and mine is Causes of Misbehavior. That was actually the first one I took. And I'm going to add it into the folder. Now, do note that I have made sure, in fact, let me show you really quickly. I have made sure that, pardon me, I'm in the wrong document, so give me one moment so I can get into my personal ePortfolio document where I house all of my documents that I'm going to add to my Google Sites. So here, causes of misbehavior, I've had to make sure that I had the sharing on that anyone with a link can view. And when you first add an artifact, this up here is going to be gray. So you have to click on that, and it should automatically populate with anyone with a link can view. And then that makes it so that you can see it in the Google Sites ePortfolio. So I don't want this one to be here. I think I want it side by side. So I can easily drag it, and now it's side by side. And this is totally a personal preference. So I have this text box here right under annotation as an interactive reading strategy. And then if and when I get the time, I'm going to add a text box here about causes of misbehavior. Now, I really want to make it clear that on March 22nd, 2020, that I do not expect reflective reflections on the artifacts for the Sanford Inspire, because you are doing those reflections in your combined service learning and small group project. So I don't expect you to have a reflection underneath. I'm simply offering this to you as an example. So real key is every time you make any change to your ePortfolio, you have to click Publish. So now I see one side, the draft. This is what I'm currently working on, and it shows you the causes of misbehavior. And then this is the currently published. Note that there is no causes of misbehavior here. So every time you have a change, you need to click Publish. And over here on the left-hand side, there's a panel that tells you what it is that you've done. And once you hit Publish, there it is, taking just a second or so. And then you'll have your updated ePortfolio. Now, the nice thing about this is once someone has your link, then you never have to give it to them again. You never have to send it to them again, because they're always going to have the updated version of your ePortfolio if they have a live link. And I am so sorry. I don't know why it's taking so long. And there we go. Now, if you want to check what your ePortfolio looks like, what the published version looks like, then you've got this little icon. And if you hover over it, it says preview. And in that preview, you can see all the things that you've added. So to date, what I have done is added something to my About Me. I've customized my ePortfolio so it looks a little more attractive. I can always change those things. I've added the learning plan. Um, I've added teaching philosophy. Um, and this is something that was on your syllabus. I've not yet added a why teach. I haven't added much else to here. But I am, this is always a work in process. So this is my video to help those of you working with your ePortfolio. I'm going to go ahead and stop my screencast and then go back to the course I'm currently teaching.